It does suck that John Jones now is out for 295. I've been looking forward to this fight for months. Owen's been looking forward to it, and I had to tell him. I was like, "Hey, buddy," because he keeps asking me every time there's a UFC fight. He'll be like, "When's John Jones fighting?" And I'm like, "November 11th. Settle down," you know. And all of a sudden today, I'm like, "Sorry, buddy." Opinions on that?
I mean, it sucks. I mean, your pet goes. There's nothing you can do. I don't know why they couldn't just get Cyril Gane to step in and still have this heavyweight fight, but it seems like Stipe Miocic just wants to fight John Jones, then retire. I mean, that's what it seems like. So if John Jones is out, he's done. And Alex Pereira has had a short UFC career, but it's been a wild ride every time he's in the octagon. So we still have a good main event.
The one thing I don't understand, because again, I'm still like kind of new to this, and I'm even though I'm watching more UFC, I'm still not following it hard. Why would Dana White allow anyone to challenge for a title that has the objective of retiring?
I don't think it's necessarily challenging for a title. I think Stipe Miocic had it and then it went vacant. So Cyril Gane won it because like he just hadn't been fighting. I don't know if that was due to injury or not. So technically it was like they were fighting to see who the undisputed champion is. And I think you give him a title fight because a lot of people look at Stipe Miocic as the greatest heavyweight, the most accomplished. He's beat everyone else that he's fought. Like, it's not just someone challenging for the title. This is my last fight. I just wanted to get to the belt and then be done. Stipe's defended the belt multiple times. He's owned the belt. He's one of the greatest heavyweights. So I think this is just kind of like an interesting situation. And Dana White has said it many times. He doesn't care what players or fighters' motives are, whether it's retirement, championships, money. If it's a good fight, he'll make it. Like if the two
Whether
guys
it's
are
belt or not, it doesn't matter to
correct.
him. Yeah.
If there's a good fight, he'll make it. That's why he was trying to get Elon Musk and Zuck. If it's a good
Yeah.
fight, it'll pay. It'll pay.
Yeah.
I'll do it. So he's always kind of been pretty open about that. That's his philosophy.
NBA tipped off last night. A big slate tonight. You want to do that now, or you want to wait for that?
We can go right into it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit of last night. Did you see anything from the Lakers Nuggets slash Suns Warriors games that you think stood out?
Yeah, so Jokic and the Nuggets are back. Round two. They're gonna be a force all year and been there, done that.
Yep.
Same old Anthony Davis disappearing in second halves. Lakers are gonna have troubles. His inconsistency was gonna slow them down all year, and it'll just be them relying on an old LeBron again. 7 straight opening night losses though, so who knows? It's just one game. Defending champs in their building, ring night. We'll see how it goes. And for the other game, uh, the Warriors defense is clearly just different without Draymond. As much as people want to bang on him, and the thing is the Warriors want to sustain and have a good season, and Curry's going to be Curry. That's fine. They are a little bit older, but the Suns are on a mission. They feel like they finally have the full roster. They have Durant. They have Booker. Bradley Beal didn't even play last night, and they beat the Warriors. So the Suns looked really good, and Devin Booker looks like he's going to be a walking 30 a night. He may compete. This team's going to be fast and shooting, and he may compete for what do they
Scoring
call
title.
it? This, yeah, the scoring title. Devin Booker is going to be in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, Nuggets are good. We knew that. I think Lakers are good. I just think that overall, it's a team that has shown over the last couple of years they're kind of a late season team. They're going to make the adjustments. They're going to kind of struggle against some of the better teams here and there. Um, as far as the Suns Warriors, Curry was in foul trouble and we didn't see Bradley Beal, so I don't put a whole lot of stock into that game. I thought Chris Paul played fine. Uh, they missed Draymond, so is what it is.
Yeah,
I think ultimately excited for both those teams down the stretch.
yeah, absolutely, totally agree. It was hard to watch the full games last night with the Frozen Frenzy, but I watched enough.
Did the four best West teams play yesterday?
Did the 4 best West teams play yesterday? Let me look here.
Feel free to look that up. While we're talking here, yeah, I'm excited for the Pistons. I mean, do I think they have a legitimate roster? it's hard to say because they're so young. I just think there's so much to like. I'm gonna watch the game tonight. I'm very excited. I've watched the last several Piston opening nights, and unfortunately, you know, I'm a dad of 3 kids and a busy guy. Having a podcast and watching football, it's hard to really just stick with this team once they get 10 to 15 games under 500 to watch on a regular night. But I'm gonna watch this team as much as I can. I'm very excited for them. They have so many young pieces, and I just hope that maybe potentially a bubble team. I've said this for the last couple of years. I've said this on the pod. Uh, I don't have any ties to the Lions, though I am rooting for them at afar. Even though I'm unfortunately I have a bet against them this year, and I don't really care about the Red Wings as much. But the next playoff game that's in Detroit, I plan on being there, whether it's the Tigers or the Pistons, and I just hope the Pistons could potentially get some sort of play-in game.
Do you have ESPN Plus?
I do not.
Okay. Well, I just want to say hockey has it's growing, I think, at a good pace. It's grown a lot for me over the last 3 years. Now is a great time to become a Red Wings fan. I think they're having a tremendous
and here's the thing.
season.
It's not for me, hockey. It's just not. It's a great sport to watch live. I've had great times at every hockey game I've ever been to, and overall I think I do like the sport. But for me, it's not really player driven at all because there's so many substitutions. It's so quick and stuff like that. It's just one of those sports that I'm just not ready to really dive into. I have more aspiration for Michigan hockey than I do the Red Wings. And I'm rooting for the Red Wings. If people ask me, like, who's your hockey team? I say, yeah, the Red Wings. I grew up in Detroit. But I don't – they win or lose, it doesn't hurt me at all.
Okay. Their captain, Dylan Larkin, came from Michigan.
I know. So yeah, I know.
That too.
Yeah.
But they just got a wingmate with them in DeBrincat, and DeBrincat's the leading goal scorer. At least he was going into last night, and they're good.
Yeah, I see nonstop Twitter posts and Facebook posts from all these Red Wings, and it seems like not only will they compete this year, it seems like they're going to be a strong contender towards the top. But we'll see. Time to tell. It's early.
Well, out of time. There's still 90% of the season to go. But I don't think there's any team that wants to see. We got the Red Wings Thursday. I don't think anybody wants that problem.
Yeah. So I asked you about the West.
Yeah.
Did the 4 best West teams play last night?
No, they're not. I think there's 4 or 5 teams that are better than the Lakers.
Oh.
Yeah, I like last year. I didn't like the Lakers. I mean, I know they did well late in the year, and they ended up getting swept by the Nuggets. But I think there's 5 teams that have a case to be better than the Lakers and potentially one of these other teams, depending on how the season goes. I think the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George. I think the Memphis Grizzlies once they get Ja Morant back.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a healthy.
What's his suspension?
25 games.
Okay.
They also lost Dylan Brooks. No, not Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks.
It is Dylan Brooks, like the menace, the bad guy. But he's gone too. But
they got Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose.
Yeah. Okay. Role player. Player fill in while Ja's gone. Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson will carry that team. But with a healthy Cat and the way Anthony Edwards is playing, Rudy Gobert, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be better this year. Again, question marks with health for the one guy, but the Pelicans with a healthy Zion, they will be a nice team. And then what they did last year, the Sacramento Kings with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, we'll see if they can have it come to life in the postseason. But they're a really good team. I'm always going to say the Mavericks have a chance. All those teams aren't definitively right now better than the Lakers. I just think the 4 best teams, I don't know if we can outright say that. Just right off the rip. I don't know if we can.
Yeah. I think the 4 best teams did play last night, though I think my bubble 5th team is probably the Pelicans. Just because at their apex, which we'll see here in the next week, I would imagine, I think they can be really good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have this much trust that Zion finishes the season.
Yeah. I mean, nobody can. And when I was listing those teams, they were not in order of how I have them
No, I
listed.
get it.
It's just without them playing games, they're in alphabetical order. So that's kind of when I was reading through them, where I'm at with the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm interested on Houston too because they did enough. They have
Don't
enough
forget that
young pieces and
they
they
got
spent enough money.
they
They're
got Fred
weird.
VanVleet. A lot of people forgot that he's
Yeah,
no longer in Toronto. I also
yeah.
want to say, with that coach, I forget the player's name. They had a guy come out small forward for the Spurs, but I'm just saying with Wemby, we don't know what he can be. We don't know what he can be. He's the highest. Keldon Johnson and Devonte Graham, they're a small forward and shooting guard. Those two guys played really really well last year. Young guys. They pick up Serge Ibaka Rice from Texas last year. I mean, I know that he's going to be a bench guy, deep bench guy, but I just the Spurs we don't know yet because we don't know what Wemby can do. We haven't seen him in the NBA yet.
Yeah, so I have 3 predictions, and then we'll leave the NBA corner. Uh, who's your West? Who's winning the West?
I think. Are you saying winning the West to represent in the finals or one seed? Representing in the finals.
I have the Nuggets.
Yeah, I was thinking about saying that. But I think the Suns. I think the Suns get there. I think the Yusuf Nurkic.
Nurkic.
Thank you. From the Trailblazers. He's the perfect center for that team. And if you have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal does play defense, and so does Kevin Durant. I can't speak for Booker that much, but they play enough defense that they're scoring in a 7-game series to try and stop that. It's going to be really, really tough.
Okay. Who's coming out of the East?
It's got to be the Milwaukee Bucks. It's got to be the Bucks for me.
I get it. I
You
get
got
it.
Boston.
And I do. They made what I think is the 2 best complementary moves. Now, mind you, does Kristaps Porzingis stay healthy? He's a 4 on that team, maybe a 5. Like that's perfect for him, right? And Drew Holiday, what a pickup! What a pickup!
Yeah,
Their lineup is filthy. You down the stretch, Game 7. I like them. Now, mind you, Giannis and Dame, that's filth, and Middleton, but and Brook Lopez. But I just really like what Boston does. I think they can lock anyone down.
Yeah, I think that would be fun with if they met in the postseason with the Holiday versus the Bucks. You know, they traded him like 17 hours after he went public that he would love he would wants to be a Buck for the rest of his career. I think that's what pushed him to want to go to Boston is for that opportunity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think that Giannis might be the best player in the NBA. I'd have to give it to Jokic right now, but I think Giannis is too. And Dame finally getting a platform and a team. I like the consistency of that team. Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez will do enough. Now their bench, I don't know, but yeah, Tatum, Brown, Holiday. It's nice.
Filth. I said 3 topics. We're gonna do 2 more. MVP prediction.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone would want me to not say Luka Doncic. I'm always going to take him. He's a top 3 candidate. I think right now I would take him as personally the number 1 ISO scorer in the NBA. He has a chance to lead the league in points. Denver Nugget or the Mavericks don't play a whole lot of defense, so we'll be high scoring games. But if the Mavericks can somehow in this loaded West get a top 4 seed, I think it would heavily be because of Luka and have a good chance.
Without a doubt.
And a lot of times the NBA, they fancy a first-time MVP over a duplicate. So that's why I think that hurts Jokic. I just don't know if he'll win it. Well, actually, no, they gave it to Embiid, didn't they?
They did.
Okay. I got Luka.
Yeah. I'm going Giannis. I just think that he's going to explode this year. Now I know I just picked the Celtics, but like Giannis as a player is just better than anybody the Celtics have, and Dame is literally the perfect teammate for him. there's only like 3 other players that you could say are even a better option than Dame. Luka beat one of them for Giannis, but Dame's perfect teammate. I think it's going to be great. Giannis' numbers going to explode. They're going to be a great top 1 or 2 seed MVP for me.
When you have Giannis and Dame, and you're going to get 17 a night from Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton doesn't miss free throws. I think that's a big reason why. I just think people are overlooking what remember when they got knocked out by Boston last year, everyone said, well, it's because Middleton was hurt. Let's keep that same energy. Middleton is an all-star. Middleton plays.
Miami knocked him out, but yeah.
Well, okay, yes. They were going to play Boston. It was supposed to be the big matchup. Yep. You're right. But it's just that, like, a lot of people said it because they didn't have Middleton. I just think we shouldn't overlook what he means. Like, he's one of the best threes in the entire league, maybe the best.
And then Wemby. Any predictions on what Wemby is or can be? Or do you see him as a 20-game player this year? Do you see him as a 55-game player? Do you see him as a defensive player of the year? What are your predictions on Wemby? I feel like we have to get this out of the way.
I think Wemby is not going to be like dominant scorer. I think Wemby's going to consistently give you 15 to 25. He's going to give you the point production of a number 2. I don't think he's going to be an all-star point scorer. But I think every night he's going to have a spectacular play, whether it's on offense or defense. Euro stepping from the 3-point line for a dunk. I mean, did you see the still frame picture of his block on Andrew Wiggins in the preseason? It looks kind of like Space Jam stuff. I think with Greg Popovich and playing on the Spurs, it'll be boring as shit. No one's going to want to watch what's going on with Wemby. But I think every time you're on SportsCenter, you turn on NBA TNT, you're going to see a spectacular play. Then you're going to look and it's going to say 17 points, 9 boards, 4 blocks. Like that might be his average. He has a chance to do some special things on both offensive and defensive. And that's good to see, a superstar that's a two-way player. You need those whenever you can. And 7'4" and can play the point. His over/under on 3-pointers made in game 1 is 1.5. Like they expect him to pop these. I think he's going to produce spectacular plays. He's going to be good at everything. Great two-way player. There's 82 games in a season. I expect him to play somewhere between 68 and 75. He'll miss about 10 games, whether it be rest or an ankle here. I think he plays most of the season. I'm not worried about his size because even though he's 7'4", he's 235 pounds, I think he is. So he's not Chet Holmgren, which, remember, guys, we get to see him this year, too, for the first time. He didn't play last year, Liz Frank. So
I think good.
I think that's the only – I mean, Spurs play the Mavs tonight. But I can't wait to see Thunder versus Spurs, two guys who are supposed to be touted as these, new look athletes. So I think Wemby's going to be good. I don't look for Wemby to have too many injury issues. I think he's going to play. I think he's good. I think coming from Europe also helps him with the physicality.
Yeah. So I have no idea if this is even a stat or a betting odd. If I put his games at 41.5, I like the over. But if you put it at 49.5, I like the under. I think he's somewhere between 40 and 50 games this year. I think they rest him a lot. I think he'll deal with a small injury here or there. I do think he finishes the season. I do think that. Like, I don't think he'll have a season-long injury. I just think maybe he misses a week or two here. I think he misses a game or two here. He won't play a back-to-back maybe. Like, I think it's going to be somewhere between the 40 and 50 range. But I got him at 16 points. 5 boards and 4 blocks. No idea what his assist totals are going to be or steals, but 16, 5, 4, and I think he'd get rookie of the year with those numbers.
Yeah, I had 17, 9, 4, so we're not too far off. I have more boards, but the other thing too is just real quick, do you know some of the new NBA rules that are now enforced this year?
Mm-mm.
First of all, I will mention it. Do you know about the in-season tournament?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Basically,
we've talked about that here.
Yeah. Every game you play in the regular season for the first 2 months, the wins also have a point system that account towards that in-season tournament. At the end, there will be 2 extra games for 2 teams and 1 extra game for 4 teams. So it's a 4-team battle tournament. I'm hoping they have the finale on Christmas. Maybe that's like the middle Christmas game is the like mid-tournament. the winning team, everyone on the roster gets $500K. So guys will be trying for that $500,000. I don't care how rich you are. That's a lot of money. But moving forward, it is now a technical foul if it was deemed that you flopped. So flopping is punishable by a technical foul. I believe there was one more rule that I forget, but then when it comes to resting, no team is allowed to rest 2 stars, not all stars, 2 stars on the same night. And a star is dictated by any player that made an all-star game or any of the 3 all-NBA teams in the previous 3 seasons. So Paul George and Kawhi cannot be rested on the same night. We'll see how that goes. Will the league go to, a team like the Spurs and say, hey, we're going to give Wemby the same treatment, and you have Keldon Johnson, I believe, or I already forgot his name, but you can't rest those.
I don't know.
Either way, it was like you can't rest those. Keldon Johnson, sorry. It was like you can't rest those 2 on the same night. Who knows what they'll do, but like Luka and Kyrie cannot rest the same night. So a little bit of stuff that they've tried to do to help promote the game and the quickness of the game. And yeah, if there's a foul and the coach reviews it and it was a flop, that's a technical foul. And I believe the coach's review can be used anytime. And if you're right, you get to use it again later in the game. It was something to do with the coach's challenges.
Let's get some rankings, shall we?
Sure.
Want to do them separate or together again?
I mean, we move with some pace when we do them together. I don't think. It doesn't have to be so dramatic. We can just go together. It's fine.
Let's do that. So I think we have the same number 1. I got Kansas City.
I have the Chiefs.
We have the same team, different name.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you have the Eagles and I have Philadelphia.
I have the Eagles. Correct.
Okay, and I have Philadelphia. This is where things get interesting, I think. But I have enough faith in you. 49ers.
I have the Ravens.
And that's fine. I have the Ravens 4. Do you have the Niners 4?
Niners 4.
Okay, so a quick swap, but yeah, I think I'm in agreement. Those are the top 4 teams. I agree.
I just went with the 49ers on a 2-game lose streak. We didn't do one last week.
Yep.
And not the Ravens didn't beat the Lions. They hammered the Lions.
Yeah.
So
Yep. 5. I'm interested in who your 5 is because somewhere here you're going to have the Steelers higher than I do, and I know that, and I'm okay with that. But I'm just wondering. I got the Jags 5.
Okay, that's a team. I have the Lions at 5. I have the Lions at 5. I test. I know that they just lost to the Ravens, but with the Ravens being higher on the list, the Lions they've beat the Chiefs, who are number 1 on my list. Out of conference road spot, first time playing Lamar, that's going to sneak up on you. And I know I have the Lions way higher than you. I bet we might have swapped the Lions and Jaguars on our list.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, the thing is, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago or a week ago when we didn't do it, the Lions may have even been higher than 5. So I took that into consideration as well. Last week, they may have been higher.
Okay. So you got Lions 5. I had Jags 5. Who do you have 6?
I have the Dolphins at 6.
I have the Dolphins at 6.
They need to beat a good team, though.
Do you have the Jags at 7?
I have the Jags at 8.
Okay.
I have the Cowboys still at 7. They were on a bye week last week.
Okay, so you have. I'm sorry. Let's start. We just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, my 7 is the Lions. Who's your 7?
Cowboys.
Okay. So yeah,
I'm
being probably a little no, I'm being a little harsh on the Cowboys. I have them down. They're in my top 12 for sure, but they're down here. Who's your 8? Mine's the Seahawks.
My 8 is the Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Okay. So I wonder. See, I think maybe we're right around the same spot with the Seahawks. Who is your 9?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. I'm hoping your Seahawks are 10.
They are.
Okay.
Yep.
So I have the Steelers at 10. You have them at 9. I had the Seahawks at 8. You have them at 10.
I also think part of me is like the Jags caught the Bills on a bad spot and beat them over in London. And then it was like, okay, the Bills aren't really proving out to be as good as we were. And then it was like they beat the Colts and they beat the Saints, who have looked bad. Like, and they lost AR-15 in the middle of that game versus the Jags. I don't know. I don't want to give the Jags credit for their wins, I guess, but they are on a 4-game win streak. They beat the Falcons and Bills, but again, the back-to-back London spot for the Jags, I just think that's a little bit tricky to evaluate how those wins matter. But I also think part of me wanted the Jaguars and Steelers to be touching on my list because they play this weekend.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think there was a little bit of clouding, but when you say the Jaguars are 5, I don't hate that. They've lost 5 games in the last basically year, and 3 of them are to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, and one of them's a divisional game. So I that's okay.
I think we agree on the next 2 teams. I don't know what the positions are, and if you don't have the next 2 teams, I'm confused.
Okay.
Bills, Bengals.
Okay, so I find it hard to evaluate. I have Bills, Bengals as 12-13.
Who's your 11? Let me guess. You have the Browns, don't you?
I have the Browns.
I couldn't do it.
And I know.
Their quarterback situation is an absolute carousel.
That's what helped me put it at 11. Deshaun got a concussion. They just released that when pitchers have the shoulder injury he had, they usually wait 4 to 6. He looked awful. They promoted PJ Walker to the active squad. They now have the better quarterback playing. No.
Dude, PJ Walker's a friend of the pod. I'm not dissing. But come on.
Deshaun Watson was 1 for 5 with a pick at the beginning of that game. Well,
he was hurt.
Exactly. So if he's hurt, he's not as good as a healthy PJ Walker. And the last time Deshaun Watson was good, he had a red, white, and blue jersey on. And that was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
He was good pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still got the vid. Is he vaccinated? Maybe we should check up on it. Maybe he's not feeling well. I'm just saying, they gave him this contract. The team walks around Deshaun, and no one's really talking to him. He looks sad all the time. He looks bummed when he throws the ball. There's zero confidence on it. He straight up gave the Steelers a win this season. Yeah. Like, I don't think we beat them if PJ Walker's playing. And this is not me celebrating how good PJ Walker is. I'm just shitting on Deshaun Watson right now. I just don't think he's good. But I look at the entirety of the AFC, and they all do it in a little bit different fashion, but they all win. And I ended up putting the Browns at 11. But yeah, Bills, Bengals, Browns.
Who do they got? Who the Browns got this weekend?
Let me pull
Deshaun, I think, is already ruled out.
Let me go to the NFL real quick on my thing.
I don't care who it is. It could be the Panthers. If the Browns win this weekend, I will put them in my top 10. Not my top 12, my top 10. Because that's where they should be.
The Browns traveled to the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh. If they beat the Seahawks, they're jumping in the top 8. Because I got the Seahawks at 8.
Yeah, you would have to.
You travel to Century. Is it CenturyLink? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
You travel to Seattle and go to that stadium and beat the Seahawks, you're in my top 8.
Whether it's good teams, bad teams, or middle teams, I think this Sunday has I don't really care for the Sunday and Monday night games in terms of where I think the skill is. But the 4 o'clock and 1 o'clock window, hell, even Thursday night, I think we have a tremendous week of NFL in front of us.
Cool. Can't wait to talk about that. We have 2 topics before we get to the spreads.
I just also, the Dolphins and Cowboys, I don't really, like, they beat a lot of really bad teams.
They have.
So that's why I have the Lions above the Jags, Cowboys, Dolphins. I think the top 4 teams are Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens, 49ers. And then in that next 4, Lions, Dolphins, Cowboys, Jags. I just value the Lions wins a little bit more, especially the one against the Chiefs. That's why they're at 5. But, like, I just think that is the next tier. Jags, Cowboys, Dolphins, Lions. I think that's the next tier behind those front 4.
Yeah, I'm not dissing the Lions. I don't want this to come off as a diss, but they've been crowned as beating the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are undefeated with Chris Jones and Travis Kelce in their
True.
lineup. So
True.
coincidence? I'm going to go yes. I also think that the Lions, right after that game, okay, they were asked to play a really good Seahawks team and they lost at home. Then they beat up some bad football teams and they had their first massive
That's
game.
true.
And they get obliterated. And I'm not talking like they lost by 2 scores. They lost by like 5 scores. Like, I'm sorry, I can't value you with some of the best teams in this league when you do this. Now, mind you, I had them 7, so I didn't shit on them. But they're not a top 5 team.
Right.
I have more faith in the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Dolphins hung 70 on a football team this year. And mind you, they've beaten nobody with a pulse. The Lions have at least beaten the Chiefs. And
played the Seahawks well. They played this.
who else did the Lions even beat?
Right, yeah. So that's the problem. Here's why it's going to be hard to evaluate the Lions going forward, because I saw them preseason really high. It was one of the teams we kind of didn't see exactly eye to eye.
No, we were both second place with them.
Right. No, I had them in first.
You had the Packers in first.
I had Packers 10-7,
Lions
6.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because you had the Vikings still in first place.
Yeah,
which
the Vikings.
They've beat the Falcons, Packers, Panthers, and Buccaneers. Buccaneers off a bye, I thought was going to be a better game, but they beat them by.
That was a good win. That was a good win.
But here's where it's going to be hard for you to evaluate them. If you have them at 7 and they got beat by the Ravens, they beat the Chiefs and they did blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to rattle off their schedule. Raiders, Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints, Bears, Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings is their last 3. Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings is their last 3.
There's one team with a pulse.
Yeah, that's why people are saying that the Lions have the inside track for the 1 seed because of their schedule. Like, in those next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in their next 7 games, at worst, they're 5-2, and that's the floor. So they're going to be 10-4, theoretically, but their last 3, at Vikings, at Cowboys, hosting the Vikings. Their last 3 are going to be tough games.
Especially because the Vikings, I know you bailed on them. We don't have time to talk every team this week, so we'll talk Vikings next week after they win or lose. But I do think that the Vikings have a run in them. I really do.
I do too. I love everything Kirk's done. I'm not waving the Kirk clause. These are my guys. Give me the 49ers. Let me throw it 40 times, and I'll go for 400 on them. I love everything about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things. All right. 2 topics, and then we'll go to the spreads.
Cool.
The Steelers. I'll make 2 points, and then I'll be done, and then you can just kick it away. I thought Kenny was short, but you can't bitch about a spot of the ball when you're up a score in the 4th quarter and you allow the other team to tie it up, take the lead, repossess the ball. At that point, stop bitching about a 4th down or a 3rd down or whatever it was.
Also, they could have challenged it, but they were already out of timeouts. What are you doing, Sean? Why are you wasting your timeouts?
Yeah, tough luck. You got outplayed. You got outplayed by a championship level team. But yeah, other than that, take it away. How are you feeling about the Steelers right now? You got to be over the moon.
Yeah, I am, because this, like, I put a Facebook post. The team kind of confuses me. I don't know how we do it.
They're very confusing.
Yeah, but Mike Tomlin ties this team together, and they all row the boat. No matter if it's a small paddle, big paddle, if it's through a hole in the bottom, Mike Tomlin has everybody rowing on this ship. And it's just kudos to Mike Tomlin. A lot of people are like, yeah, kudos, Brad. He's going to drag you to maybe a winning record, and then you're going to lose in the playoffs if you make it there. And it's like, yeah, but every week my team has a chance to win, and I'm never going to give up on that. I'm just never going to. I don't want to be bad ever. And the thing is we have to start talking about it. And I know Micah Parsons is tied for first with Myles Garrett on Defensive Player of the Year odds, and TJ's right behind him. But it's just because he's a Cowboy. Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are so, I just think right now they're playing so far above every other defensive player that it's hard to account for really what they do in a game point-wise. Like, TJ Watt didn't have a sack, but he has an interception that gets us to the 7-yard line. We punch it in for a touchdown. We're back in the game. Myles Garrett, what's he do? Block a field goal, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Like, these guys account for so much, and we get it done. And the thing is Kenny Pickett is a dog in the fourth quarter. I don't remember all the statistics. If you just want to watch it real quick, the herd hierarchy, Colin Cowherd does one every week, and I think you had the Steelers at 6. Bit high for me. Love seeing that, though. Bit high for me. But what he said was Mike Tomlin, the coach, TJ Watt, and Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter. His QBR, he already has in, 12 starts, 5 game-winning drives, and 4 fourth-quarter comebacks or something like that. He just plays big in the biggest moments. George Pickens is an absolute unit, and he got his running mate Deontay Johnson back in the offense. I mean, Kenny threw for 240 yards, no picks. Granted, no touchdowns either, but we were able to move the ball. Najee got on the board for a touchdown. The defense was buzzing, and we're doing this on defense without Cam Hayward. We lost him to the 49ers week 1, and they said about 8 weeks. He's coming back in the next 2 weeks. And the Steelers right now at 4-2 have 3 straight home games down the road. Jaguars, Titans, Packers. There's a good chance we may be able to get 2 wins out of this. And I know the AFC North is annoying with how much they keep fucking winning. But that's the name of the game. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. People were like, I thought the AFC North was it. Bengals are 1-2. The Ravens are losing games. And the Steelers are leading the division. Well, now we're the only division where every team's 500 or better. And nobody wants to see the North. I don't care. It's ugly sometimes. It's unorthodox at times, but final whistle. We got 24. Y'all got 17. Love the Steelers. Love watching them.
Yeah, Patriots, they beat Buffalo 29-25. Do you have any points before I take it away?
Sometimes Mac looks so good. The inconsistency is crazy. I still think they need weapons. I do think this is more of a what the hell is wrong with the Bills than what is going good for the Patriots, although we'll see if it could be a turning point in their season. But the one thing that I glaringly noticed, and you'll see it come through on my pick for this Thursday, the Buffalo Bills, the interior of their offensive line is not good. It's just not, the offensive line is not good. And the defense lost Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White. Matt Milano is a huge, I think behind Fred Warner, he may be the best non-edge linebacker in the league. So they are not dominant. They don't have their knockout punch. And when it comes to the little nuances and when it's clutch time and when it matters, Brian Daboll's not there to help Josh Allen. And I'm worried about the Bills. I know they were pre-anointed, and a lot of people are like, yes, they're having their downfall. We knew they weren't this good. For 2 years, they beat everyone's ass, and then it was Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. This year, maybe the Chiefs, because they're winning, are doing good, and the Bengals and Bills are feeling a little bit of fatigue of having such long seasons with nothing to show for it. Well, I guess Bengals did get the AFC Championship game, but I don't know. Every week they seem to look further and further away from the Chiefs, and it used to be them two at the top. So I think it's a bad look for the Bills, but good on the Patriots for winning. I didn't watch the entirety of the game. What were your takeaways?
Yeah, I think for the first time all year, they didn't shoot themselves in the foot early. That was huge.
They actually did the opposite.
Correct. They went down, kicked a field goal, and then Josh Allen's first pass attempt was picked off by Jabril Peppers. So, and then they scored a touchdown. By the way, it was week 7, right? Yeah. It's week 7 in the NFL season. It was their first points off a takeaway all year. That's wild. There's a reason you're a 1-win team, So they went up 10-0 and were able to coast. And I say coast because, they had to come from behind at the end. But Mac Jones played, no exaggeration, the best game of his career. He was 25 of 30 for 272, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, sacked 1 time, and had a game-winning drive.
Didn't cheap shot anybody?
And to my knowledge, didn't cheap shot anybody.
Check that box too.
Yeah, there was a there was a difference in how the offense looked. They were very balanced. They ran it 24 times. They threw it 30. But their two leading receivers, Kendrick Bourne, who has been preaching as their wide receiver one all year, and their second leading wide receiver is Demario Douglas, a 6th-round pick. No disrespect, because I think Antonio Brown's a Hall of Famer. He's like a poor man's Antonio Brown. Like, he's small, he's shifty, he's got great footwork, great after the catch, he's always open. He ain't Antonio Brown. Not insinuating that, but he kind of reminds me of it, how he plays the game. I just thought overall they were able to just do things that they haven't done all year. And it just goes to show you how hard it is to win in the NFL for the Bills, because divisional matchups are just, they're so tough. It doesn't matter how good or bad a team is. I think New England came into this game plus 9.5, and I actually bet the Bills to cover, and the Patriots won. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what, the Bills helped a lot of people in survival pools.
Yeah.
Or the Patriots should help a lot of people in survival pools. I know a couple guys who wanted to talk about it, and they're like, yeah, I had the Bills, dude. I was so mad. And I was like, I had the Browns this week. I took the Browns. Imagine my heart attack watching that nastiness at the end.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say. At this point, I don't know if we're building or if it's a fluke. So I reserve the right to see how we play against the Dolphins. I think even with a loss, whether it's close or not, you have to, at this point, kind of move on and start shedding pieces and try to build towards next year. It's too high of a quarterback draft to try and compete when you can't. But for a team that's very injury ridden, they played pretty well. JC Jackson's been huge over the last 3 weeks. So, I mean, I'm a football fan and I love my own team. No matter what kind of season it is, whether you're tanking or not, wins feel great. You're going to cheer on the boys. So seeing them win this game, shout out Jeff Halbert. We're texting back and forth. I was over the moon to see them, especially the Bills, because since Brady's left, because Brady was, I don't know if people realize this, Tom Brady was 33-3 against the Bills. The Patriots did not lose to the Bills. Josh Allen, since Tom Brady's been gone, I believe this is only his second loss, and he has 3 of his highest rating games ever against us, including a playoff game.
Games they played like a year or two ago where they never punted for 2 straight games on them.
Literally 2 straight games they didn't punt. So it's this one felt great.
Wasn't his other loss to the Patriots when it was like 180-mile-an-hour wind? And you guys got that long touchdown.
We threw it 3 times.
You guys got that long touchdown run.
Yeah, Mac threw it 3 times.
That year, they beat the doors off you in the rematch, and then they did it in the playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played 3 times that year. Yeah, that was a crazy game to watch. It was ugly.
Yeah, it's
throw the ball, sir.
Well, let's hit the spreads and we'll hit the road.
All right, we got Thursday night football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 8.5. No way can I take that right now. I'm taking the Bucs plus 8.5. I talked about the interior of the O-line not being good. That's the strength of this Tampa team, is that front 7 and their D-line. I look for them to cause havoc and pressure. Also, with some defensive starters out, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I'm not saying they win. I think the money line is definitely in play. So 8.5 is just an absurd amount. I don't understand the line.
Don't mind me. I'm betting the Bucs real quick.
Yeah.
That's how egregious this is. Ooh, DraftKings only has it at 9. I still like it though.
8.5, 9. Yeah.
Oh wait, is it 8.5 on?
It's 8.5.
So 9's a better number. Yeah, I'll take the 9. We'll take the 9. Yeah, I just think overall, what I'm seeing is the Bills without 2 of their 3 best defensive players are really struggling. And Mike Evans comes to town, and I know it's a warm weather team coming to a cold weather team. I know it's a short week, but what is 9 points
to be
on
like
draft?
70 tomorrow in the Northeast. It's like a high of 77.
Oh,
and like where we're
at. I feel even better now. Yeah, I feel even better. Give me the Bucks plus the points. I'll take the Buffalo Bills on the money line by
You taking the Bills on the money line?
Bills on the money line, Bucks plus the points. Give me Bills.
Well, shit, you're going 3 for 3. What's the over under is 42.5. Let's do the trifecta.
I like him. I like him 28-24. Bills.
So you're taking the over.
Slightly.
All right. That right there is plus 479. So $10 would win you $48.
Damn.
Got the spread, the money line, and the over.
So if you wait a minute, you can bet Bucks plus the points, but also Bills on the money line at the same time?
And the over under. You can do one from each column.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. Now I cannot bet Tampa plus 8.5 and Tampa. It's letting me. I could bet I guess I could bet Tampa plus it doesn't change the odds of the payout at all. So yeah, if you were to bet Tampa plus 8.5 and Tampa money line, it wouldn't alter the payout. Like it would act like just only one of them's there. But yes, you can take Tampa spread, Buffalo on the money line, and the over under. All right, so we're both on Bucks plus 8.5. Next game, Philly, after 2 weeks ago going to OT, travel back to the Washington Commanders. And the Commanders are getting plus 6.5 as home dogs.
This team seems to have Philly's number. Agree or disagree?
Last 2 times they've played them, it's been close, yeah.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts is a little beat up, but to be honest, I think he's been beat up for like 2 years now, it seems like. 6.5 feels like too many. But I do think that the Eagles will come in this game really focused. This is a stay away game for me. But if I have to pick a number, Eagles are too good. I'll take the Eagles to cover. I don't love it though.
I'm going to go Philly by a tud. I also think that they've struggled with pass defense over the middle. They just acquired Kevin Byard. I think that's a tremendous pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Huge.
And the Giants were able to hold this team to 7 points last week. So I like for them to do a lot of film look at what the Giants were able to do and then execute that. So, and remember, Sam Howell is still the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, and that D-line gets after it. Then we go to Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers are at home catching 2.5 points, hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Pittsburgh Steelers getting points this year has been it's been free money.
Since I think 2012, Mike Tomlin is the most profitable coach in the history of the NFL when an underdog, even at home as well. On the money line, he has a positive win-loss as an underdog at home.
I like Pittsburgh on the money line here. That doesn't mean I like Pittsburgh more than Jacksonville, but Jacksonville coming to Pittsburgh, fans going to be a little rowdy. I do like Pittsburgh to win this game.
Jacksonville, it's a back-to-back road spot, but they did play last Thursday night, so they're coming in on the mini bye.
They've had a little bit of mini bye. Yeah.
I'm going to take the Steelers. Also, I just recommend money line, not the 2.5, because how often are you really going to predict the team to win, but by less than 3? You can do what you want, but I'm taking the Steelers. They're rolling right now, and the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I know they have they might even lead the league in takeaways, but if you look at fantasy wise, they give up some of the most yards to receivers, running backs, everything. So I like the Steelers. Obviously, I'm a homer. Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts host the New Orleans Saints. Indianapolis plus 1.5. However, they are both favored in terms of money line payment. There is no plus money here. So they're basically calling this a dead even tie.
There has been no team I've been more impressed with than the Colts, even in losses.
Shane Steichen's been a tremendous pickup at head coach.
Unreal how good the Colts have been, even in losses. Like they just feel buttoned up.
You thought
And
they were going to get steamrolled by the Rams, and then they ripped off like 28 straight points to force overtime.
It's truly unreal how they just continue to battle despite quarterback issues, despite really having a weak roster, despite not having their star running back, despite whatever the issue is, they have kind of overcome it. Give me the Colts at home.
Yeah, I think the Colts win on the money line as well. It's one of my favorite bets. I think Garner played a better defense than the Saints last week, was able to put up 38. Not saying he's going to do that again, but Josh Downs kind of came out a little bit. They figured out where to use him. Michael Pittman, I mean, he's done well. And Jonathan Taylor finally had 17 carries, got over a buck, had a tud. So Jonathan Taylor's back now. This O-line's playing good, and the defense is playing solid. That front seven gets after it. And the Saints have had a lot of tackle issues with injuries. Derek Carr's not super mobile. Chris Olave's getting arrested and then trying to – did you see the video of him getting arrested? I played for the
Saints, bro.
Yeah, so Chris Olave running the wrong routes, dying off on routes, getting yelled at publicly, then drinking and driving. Like, somebody check on your guy, Chris Olave. He's not doing well down there in Narlands. Okay, both teams off of a bye, if I'm not mistaken. The Panthers host the Texans. Panthers +3. The Panthers are 0-6, so for them not to get at least a touchdown blows my mind. I'll take the Texans.
Panthers have to win a game.
Sure.
Panthers coming off a bye. This has got to be a Bryce Young game that he's been circled. Who's the quarterback we're all talking about? CJ Stroud. Who's the number one pick? Bryce Young. Bryce Young's got to feel a little jealous here. Adam Thielen's been great. Miles Sanders back healthy. This has to be the play for the Panthers, but give me the Texans to cover. That's -3.
This has to be a Bryce Young game, and Bryce Young really wants this game, but he also really wants to be good at the NFL level, and he's not. So I just don't know what you can do. They don't have the weapons. Also, DeMeco Ryans is a defensive head coach with weapons. They have a good defense, and they do not have the personnel and defense to keep up with Tank Dell, Nico Collins, this running game. CJ Stroud's just a dog. We forgot about it because they lost a late game heartbreaker, and then they went into a bye. Panthers aren't it.
Yep.
1 o'clock again. See, for different reasons, a lot of good close games so far, and like all good for their own reasons. But now we have the Rams traveling to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 6.5, around a touchdown.
Yeah, they have Stephon Gilmore still, but no Trayvon Diggs. I do think it's interesting that they're getting a touchdown here. The Rams with Kupp, Tutu, Puka, they've been competent. I like the Rams plus the points. Cowboys on the money.
Yeah, Rams losing a tough game in really an away environment in LA with the Steelers. Then they travel to the Cowboys, who are coming off of a bye, well rested. That front seven gets after Matt Stafford. I do think they'll be able to move the ball here and there, but without Kyron Williams, their running game wasn't doing very well against the Steelers. I think a touchdown isn't too much to ask for this defense. And I mean, Dak played well his last game before the bye. I look for Dallas to win by about 10 here, 27-17, 24-14. I like the Cowboys -6.5.
I'm actually going to change. I'm going Cowboys -6.5 too. Sean McVay is currently at the hospital with his wife who just gave birth. Not even probably constructing a proper game plan right now. He's a little busy. This feels like a Cowboys win.
Cowboys off the bye. They can look at what TJ did and say that's how we're going to use Micah Parsons. There's a lot of similarities in what they can do with their front seven. Give Matt Stafford some problems. And, it's been a little while since we've seen one of those Matt Stafford 3-pick games. I'm wondering if something happens here coming up. The Atlanta Falcons travel to the Tennessee Titans. Titans +2.5.
No Ryan Tannehill's the projection. Will Levis is supposed to play a lot. We're supposed to see a little bit of Malik Willis. The Titans they've been bad. The Falcons have been good. But this feels like because Will Levis is going to be the quarterback, we're going to try and air it out a little bit, but at the same time, we're going to hand it to Derrick Henry a lot. I don't think that bodes well for them. Falcons defensive line's been very good. Defense has been very good. I streamed some Falcon defenses in fantasy this week. I like the Falcons to cover the 3.
Yeah,
even in a push, I like the 3.
If it wasn't for untimely fumbles in the red zone, this Falcons team has moved the ball consistently all year. They're getting better. It looks like it's sticking it in the end zone. Bijan has been officially listed as healthy. He's back. I think he was dealing with migraine issues. But they have Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier, Drake London's been playing really well. Both tight ends are now starting to get involved, Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts. The Tennessee Titans are losing games. They're not playing well. I mean, except for their game against the Bengals when they won 27-3. Haven't really done much. Is it a fire sale? They've given up Kevin Byard, and, it's just tough for a defense like that to lose such a big piece in the passing defense. Mike Vrabel's a great head coach, and he's great as an underdog. But I think the Falcons team is kind of equipped here to take care of business. I like the Falcons to win by a field goal, if not more. Battle for MetLife. Giants +3 hosting the Jets. We'll see who's got the home field advantage here. But we got to understand, I was full-heartedly ready to just say, oh, yeah, Jets. Yeah, -3. They're the better team. But now Tyrod Taylor's playing. And the Giants are just simply better because Daniel Jones, quite frankly, is awful. He's just not good at football. So that was a mistake to pay him. I think because of how good Tyrod's playing, they're going to push Daniel Jones back and say, hey, with your neck, take as much time as you need. Giants +3 is not the play, though. I still like the Jets -3.
Yeah, last time we talked on the podcast, I was telling you I thought the Jets could upset the Eagles. This defense is very good. Very good. And they run Brees. And since Zach has been in the same stadium as Taylor Swift, he has been light years better. Now, that's not saying he's an elite quarterback, because he is not. But from where he was to where he is now, light years. I like the Giants, but screw this game. It's a horrible game. But I like the Jets. Sorry, not the Giants. I like the Jets to cover, but I literally couldn't care less about that game.
Yeah. Moving on to another 1:00 game. Big slate here at 1:00. The Patriots traveled to the Miami Dolphins, coming off that ass whooping where they destroyed the Buffalo Bills. And they go to the Dolphins, who just lost Sunday night to the Eagles. Dolphins are favored by 9.5 points. I think they'll win, but I do think that's way too many for a Bill Belichick coach defense and some of the struggles that we've seen. I don't think the Dolphins defense scares anybody either. I like the Dolphins to win by a touchdown. Give me like 24-16, a weird score for the Patriots, 24-16. I like the Dolphins to win, but I do think the Patriots can cover.
Yeah, I think it is. It goes to show you that Vegas is kind of with me. They're not ready to turn the leaf on the Patriots because of how they've looked. Just because you have one good game against a divisional opponent doesn't mean you're just going to turn a leaf. You know what I mean? But this is another divisional opponent. Tua is undefeated against us. But it's one of those things where it's like, I think New England's better than a 2-possession game, even on the road where they haven't had a ton of success. I like New England plus the points. I'm actually going to tease it up to 13.5 and bet it that way instead. But I do like the Dolphins to win this game. New England doesn't beat good quarterbacks, and the Dolphins beat bad teams. It's a recipe for the Dolphins to win outright.
The last 1:00 game, the Green Bay Packers host the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers are plus 1.5, but on the money line, it's another one of those, they're both minus money. It's pretty similar. It's straight pick 'em on this game.
What's the game? I'm sorry?
The Vikings at the Packers.
Oh. Yeah, I think the Vikings are a team that I refuse to quit on for obvious reasons. They've lost Justin Jefferson, and honestly, it really hasn't affected them a whole lot. I like them to go to Green Bay and beat a bad Packers team.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit closer than expected, but after the first 3 weeks, Brian Flores has figured out his personnel, and this defense is starting to give people problems. They're not being walked on like they were in the beginning of the season. He's figured out where to put people in the right places to succeed. They've now stunted a couple good offenses in a row. And the Packers, I mean, since week 2, it's been the complete opposite. The Green Bay Packers have fallen off a cliff and they continue to roll further down. Jordan Love looks in over his skis, and I'll take Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock after a big primetime win. I just think that better quarterback, maybe a better coach in Kevin O'Connell. I mean, who knows? So I like the Pack or the Vikings here to keep rolling. The Cleveland Browns travel out to Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks are favored by 3.5 points. And yeah, what say you? I'll let you take the lead here.
This Cleveland defense is good, but I just think Seattle is a complete team. They added Frank Clark this week. Don't know if he plays this Sunday. They've struggled to get after the passer. They've had to manufacture blitzes. No DK Metcalf.
He's bad anyway.
It's one of the many things we disagree on. We just can't ever see eye to eye on that. This is an absolute stay away game, but I have to go Browns plus the points. The defense is too good. Feels like it would be close.
So it's an out of conference road spot, which is kind of tough. But the thing is the Seahawks kind of just cruised to a win 20-10 over the Cardinals divisional spot, but they were at home. Then they're still at home. And the Browns were in an absolute high emotion, high intensity 4 quarters down to the final whistle game versus the Colts. Now have to travel cross country. I don't think either quarterback's in a great spot. Geno without DK versus that defense, but they have a run game. PJ Walker versus the Seahawks defense, but they have a run game. But the 12s, I think this line is perfectly placed for the Browns to lose by 3. Low 13-10, 17-14. The over-under is set at 38. So 20-21 or 20-17 is the under. I think that's about where this game is, 17-14, 20-17. But I like the Seahawks to edge out a win at home. But the Browns, I think, are going to play them good. And if P.J. Walker can shock some people and actually move the ball in this defense, I think the Browns could go in and win this game outright. But Browns plus 3, I like. Next 4 o'clock game, another good one. Cincinnati Bengals off of a bye travel out to the San Francisco 49ers, where the 49ers, coming off back-to-back losses, are favored by 3.5 points.
Brock Purdy's probably not even going to play.
He's already ruled. He's in concussion protocol. It's Adam Schefter said
nobody has played. Nobody has played with going into concussion protocol this season. So it's probably Sam Darnold.
They anticipate him starting, yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that
Debo's still out too. He's dealing with that shoulder.
I know, but there's a chance Sam looks like freaking Joe Montana in that offense. That's what they've been saying. That's why they kept him, right?
Right.
Bengals on the money line. I mean, plus the points, obviously. But I like the Bengals outright on the road.
So the 49ers are obviously the dominant team. You know, we got them top 4. They were at number 1 for quite a few weeks. But are the Bengals not constructed like almost the same as the Vikings? Almost. Like the defense plays good, but they have like maybe one guy. They have a true pocket passer, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins. Now, they're without Justin Jefferson, but Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
They don't have the tight end like T.J. Hockenson again, but they have Joe Mixon, which the Vikings don't have. I think that teams are starting to learn that you can pass on the 49ers if you construct it the right way. And I think the 49ers edge out a win here. I think the kicking game has kind of failed them the last few games, and Brock Purdy throwing untimely interceptions. But I think Sam Darnold views this as a chance that, he can make it really hard on them if Brock keeps throwing interceptions to keep going with him. He still hasn't started a full season's worth of games. I'm not saying that I'm predicting that, but I think the 49ers play well. But in the end, Sam maybe tries a little too hard, has a timely, tries to do too much. And Joe Burrow, the better quarterback, it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Can I ask you this? I don't know if we have a huge time to. This is a massive talking point. If Sam Darnold throws 4 tutties,
okay, 4 tutties, he can.
If he throws 4 tutties and they win, does Brock Purdy get this job back?
I think yes. But the media is going to be so loud about how anybody can do it in this system.
Yeah.
So loud.
Nick Wright will lose his damn mind.
Yeah. So everybody can do it in this system. I mean, he's back with CMC. There's real familiarity there. He had him in Carolina. People forget that.
Yep.
The way Sam used Tommy Tremble at Carolina, he loved the tight end. I think George Kittle props are definitely in play. Brandon Ayuk is his DJ Moore, but he's finally going to have a defense. Maybe he doesn't feel like he needs to do everything. Let's punt. Let the defense do its work. I'm excited to see what Sam Darnold can do. Brock Purdy, speedy recovery. But Joe Burrow off of a bye, him and Jamar Chase have been doing what they do. And I just saw Jordan Addison go for $130 and 2 tuds. So I'm going to go Bengals cover, but I still think the Giants win, or the 49ers win this game. I like it 24-22, somewhere around there. All right. Next game. Next game. Ravens going to the Arizona Cardinals. Ravens minus 8.5.
This is a stay away from me. I've already been burned by the Cardinals once. Cardinals at home tend to play pretty well. I don't think Lamar Jackson against the NFC is like 17-2 in his career or something crazy.
Dumb.
Because they don't play him, so it's like a culture shock to them, right? I think they win. It wouldn't shock me if they blew this team out, but the 8 just seems too much. It's a stay away from me on the road. I like the Ravens on the money.
Yeah, I think the Ravens, they just continue to roll. I think they beat this team by double digits. It's just going to be hard to make this Ravens team punt. 4 times they have to get 10 yards oftentimes. Lamar's running ability, Mark Andrews has been playing great. Zay Flowers is turning into a real number 1. And the defense is really coming around. They figured out their personnel. Kind of same thing as the Vikings. The Ravens defense seems to have taken another step. They're playing some really good football. So I just don't think the Cardinals have what it takes to stop them. And they've seen Josh Dobbs before when he played for the Steelers. And they did really well against him there. I'm not saying this is the same Josh Dobbs, but I think the Ravens battle the birds here. I think the Ravens take them down by a lot. I mean, I'm talking 27-13, 31-13, somewhere in there. I think they win closer to 20 than 10.
Okay.
Chiefs at the Broncos. Chiefs minus 7.5. Patrick Mahomes doesn't lose to the Broncos, but how much will he beat them by? Is the question.
Yeah, they don't cover big spreads. It is a road game. But the Chiefs haven't lost to the Broncos since Obama was president. I'll take the Chiefs on the money. These spreads are tough. 6.5, I'd take the Chiefs. 7.5, it's a little much.
100% taking Chiefs to cover. The Chiefs don't typically cover until this year when they have the best defense I think they've had in the Mahomes era.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces for the Broncos is now on a 4-game suspension in Kareem Jackson, which leaves the deep part of the field open. McCole Hardman now back for a second week. Marquez Valdes-Scantling makes his money in deep routes. Travis Kelce, they tried putting Patrick Surtain on him the first go-around. Nothing doing. These teams played 2 weeks ago. I don't think it favors Sean McVay or Sean Payton more than it favors Andy Reid. They keep rolling. Also, this would normally seem like you just go out and win your divisional game. this is a really big game for Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think they like that fact that they haven't lost to the Broncos for 16 straight games. I think they want to put it on them. Love the Kansas City Chiefs to win by double digits. 7.5 is a weird number. Go ahead and alt spread that up to 9.5. They're going to win by double digits. Now for the Sunday and Monday game, which I'm not super stoked for. The Chargers host the Bears. I still think they're on their backup quarterback. Chargers minus 8.5. What say you?
Chargers are 2-4. They got to win this game, but they suck. So it's hard for me to bet for them to cover 8.5 when the Bears moved the ball on the Raiders as well as they did last week. And the week before that, they moved the ball with Justin Fields. Really, they're back-to-back weeks of moving the football.
Actually, it's 3 in a row because they moved it real well in the Broncos. They just ended up losing. I mean, they put up 8 points and a half. So
yeah, I like the Bears plus the points. It's a horrible bet. I would never bet this, but
I think you have to as well. I think when you look at some of these franchises like the Bears, I think there's going to be a lot of Bears fans in LA. I mean, there's just Bears fans all over. They moved the ball decently well. Herbert, I looked for him to bounce back. He had the worst game of his career as far as I've seen the last time out. But the Chicago Bears moved the ball, and quite frankly, when you have Brandon Staley as your head coach, you do not win by double digits. Like, it's just not something that really happens. Now, I do fear that, there could be a potential blowout because Justin Herbert and these receivers, but Quentin Johnston's a bust. They don't use him. It's all Josh Palmer, Gerald Everett, Keenan Allen. Yeah, give me the Bears plus the points if I had to pick, but I don't think I'm betting this game unless the rest of my Sunday goes really well. Yeah. There's no sense in putting money on this game. And then Monday night, big bounce back opportunity for the Detroit Lions. They're favored by 8.5 hosting the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, they're going to cover this. Home, hype spot, extra day. Raiders suck. Yeah, Lions cover.
I like the Lions to cover too. The Raiders just got beat by 20 some points by the Bears. Lions get back home. They're a bounce back team. Jared Goff had his worst performance, and he's playing a pass defense and a defense in totality that isn't great. And the defense got exposed by Lamar Jackson. They're facing the polar opposite style quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo or Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer. They're all right there in the pocket. Get after him, create havoc, create turnovers. Jared Goff gets rolling. I like the Detroit Lions to have a really good offensive game. I'm looking at 31-13, 31-17. Raiders are going to get something going. When Garoppolo's in there, they do abuse Devontae a little bit more, so they may get some yards there. I like the Lions bounce back in a big way. 10 to 13 point win, I think, is not out of the question.
You know what nobody talked about last week, and obviously when you lose by 5 touchdowns, you can't really point to one thing, but I did think the Lions missed David Montgomery, and he's going to be out in this one too. And there's a chance they miss him. If the offense doesn't look very good, it's probably because of that. They were a between the tackles team, play action pass, and they just don't have that between the tackles back right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a scat back, more of a third down back out the backfield, more Alvin Kamara than he is Derrick Henry. So it's when you're missing your identity, it can be tough.
I do want to say we can't sleep on that because the team they couldn't get anything going on offense early. Yeah. They threw it 53 times, but Jahmyr Gibbs had 11 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. He did average 6.2 yards a carry. The Ravens just got out to a big lead. It changed the way that they wanted to play. But Sam Laporta has really come around. Day one, he's been a great tight end. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, like Josh Reynolds even. I like the Lions here.
I think that's a wrap.
All right. Little NBA, little Steelers Patriots.
Yeah, I think we talked a ton of different stuff. I'm excited for the Pistons tonight. And yeah, football has been great. Your Steelers are obviously playing great. Michigan's playing great. Texas is still in it. Luka's back. Hockey's back for you. Yeah, sports are great.
Yeah, a little Texas thing that popped up on my phone mid-pod, but wide receiver Ryan Wingo, he is currently the number 27 recruit overall in the 2024 class. He has committed to the Texas Longhorns. That gives us 10 of the top 300 commits for 2024's class.
Texas is, I mean, they feel back. They want to play with Arch Manning. I don't blame
I'll
them.
be honest, it's hard to get behind just the way I don't know, I can't really attach myself to the way he goes about it, but it's going to be a real interesting time here with Malik Murphy taking over for Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a downgrade. Why wouldn't they just play Arch, though?
I think they still want to have the ability to redshirt him for an extra year. Also, I did see him in the spring game. He needs to get bigger. Like, he had the accuracy and the touch and the movement, but you could see a definite drop in velocity on ball when you look at Quinn and Malik versus Arch Manning.
I know his dad asked him to sit for a year too.
Sure.
They asked the coaching staff to sit him a year. They chose their school based off that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things with that. Like, Arch will get his time, but they don't want to rush him to where he's overwhelmed and could potentially. He's in the weight room. We saw the picture, with all the 5 quarterbacks that were in the weight room. And Malik Murphy looks like a defensive end. He's like 6'4", 235, and big arms. So it'll be interesting to see how they play. Jonathan Brooks at the running backs. The defense is still playing okay. A little bit of a scare with Houston there, but I mean, Quinn Ewers. You lost a fumble to Oklahoma, diving forward and getting tackled. You already hurt your shoulder against Bama last year. Against Houston, you're diving forward, taking on the shoulder, AC, like what slide? Just slide. I don't understand. And yeah, it's easy to detach yourself a little bit from Quinn recency bias when you throw 2 picks, one bad pick and a fumble against Oklahoma. It's just tough, but there's a reason why Sark wanted Malik Murphy to join the school as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for listening. We will see you back next week. Sorry for the bye week last week. Sometimes we need one. Couldn't link up for schedules. So we gave you what we got tonight. NBA tip-off, spreads, rankings, the whole shebang. We'll see you guys next week. We're out.
Hey.